So now the first 3 rounds of the NFL draft are officially over, and I want to give my overall grade, my thoughts on exactly what the Packers did in the first 3 rounds of this draft. And I think to look at what Brian Gutekunst was able to do tonight on day 2, especially getting 3 pass catchers, 2 tight ends, and 1 wide receiver for Jordan Love is huge, because lots of us have been wondering what the Packers' plan was going to be. Trading away Aaron Rodgers, getting that additional second-round pick, moving up 2 spots from 15 to 13 in round 1. We assumed that at some point in this draft, Brian Gutekunst would come in and draft receivers, tight ends, players and pieces that could allow Jordan Love to have success in his first year here in Green Bay, starting in 2023, taking over for Aaron Rodgers. And so, of course, to be able to have an extra second-round pick was huge. To be able to move up 2 picks helped the Packers as well. We start off round 1, get Lucas Van Ness from Iowa, an edge rusher who only played for 2 years there, but is incredibly athletic, 6'5", incredibly strong, has tons of power. And to be able to use him along the Packers defensive line that did lose a few guys this offseason in Dean Lowry, in Jarran Reed, Rashawn Gary coming back from his ACL injury, I knew the edge was one of the positions the Packers needed to target in this draft. And my top 3 needs for the Packers were wide receiver, then tight end, then edge rusher. And in these first 3 rounds, the Packers, got all those positions: wide receiver, 2 tight ends, and then also an edge rusher. So starting off round 1, getting an edge rusher, Lucas Van Ness, who I think, because as I mentioned in yesterday's video when I broke down the initial news of the pick, his ability to play inside is huge for the Packers, because when Rashawn Gary is fully healthy, they could utilize Preston Smith on the outside, Rashawn Gary on the outside, and then a combination of maybe Kenny Clark, Lucas Van Ness, Devontae Wyatt, TJ Slayton. They can sort of mix those guys in and around. And so that was, I think, I like that pick. Part of me wanted the Packers to take Jackson Smith and Jigba at that number 13 pick, but the Packers decided to pass on it and go edge rusher. But then coming into day 2, earlier tonight, I broke down every single player specifically. So if you want to see all those, you can check out like 3 or 4 videos from tonight that I already did, and I will be covering the rest of the draft. So feel free to subscribe. Put up Packers content pretty much every single day. Have been doing it for about 3 years now. So thank you to everyone who's been subscribing recently. But we start off in round 2. We come in and we draft Luke Musgrave. Luke Musgrave from Oregon State at pick number 42. He's, I think, 6'6", runs a 4.61 40. So when I saw that news at first, I was like, this is amazing. I love this. The Packers finally get a new weapon for Jordan Love, a guy who, when you have a 6'6" player in the red zone, Jordan Love is going to be able to target him. Seems to be a great receiver, a great receiving threat there at tight end. And then Brian Gutekunst was not finished in round 2 when it came to drafting weapons for Jordan Love. He trades back from 45 to 48, then from 48 to 50, picks up an additional 5th-round pick and 6th-round pick, and drafts Jayden Reed, wide receiver from Michigan State. And I think when you look at the Packers receiver room and the tight end room as it stands before the Packers drafted Jayden Reed, Christian Watson 6'4", 4.36 40, Romeo Doubs 6'2", 4.5 or so 40, depending on which pro day or combine you look at. And then right before this, drafting Luke Musgrave 6'6", 4.61 speed. Brian Gutekunst comes in and gets Brian Gutekunst and the Packers get a speedy wide receiver for Michigan, 5'11". And let me find his weight here. I'm scrolling through my different notes that I have. 5'11", 187 pounds from Michigan State. His at the combine, he ran a 4.45 40, but apparently the Packers clocked him at 4.37, so he may be even faster than it looked like he was at the combine. And so I think when you look at the Packers receiver room now, to have Christian Watson, big, fast guy, to have Romeo Doubs 6'2", and then now we have a speedy guy in Jayden Reed who has the ability to play in the slot and outside. So just imagining this Packers room, we could have Christian Watson in 3 receiver sets, Christian Watson on the outside, Romeo Doubs on the outside, and then we could stick Jayden Reed in the inside. It seems like a great route runner, can get separation, and that's the kind of guy that Jordan Love can utilize, in the quick passing game. Slants can get open quickly, and he also has that deep threat ability. I think he had 46 explosive plays of over 20 yards in the past 2 seasons. So I love that pick to pair with the other receivers here in Green Bay. And usually the Packers like to target a guy who's at least 6 feet tall, 200 pounds, but they sort of break that here to target Jayden Reed. And I think because of the other players the Packers already have here, it makes lots of sense for the Packers to take Jayden Reed where they did. And then Brian Gutekunst was not finished. In round 3, the Packers came in and drafted another tight end. This time, it's tight end Tucker Kraft, tight end from South Dakota State. And so the Packers leave the first 3 rounds with a wide receiver, with 2 new tight ends. We lost Robert Tonyan to the Chicago Bears this offseason. Sorry that you had to go there. Chicago, Robert Tonyan. Unfortunate. Wish you the best, though. And we lost Mercedes Lewis. He has not been re-signed. And so the Packers come in and get 2 tight ends to really fill that need. And Brian Gutekunst mentioned in the past couple months that the tight end class was deep. We talked about it here on this channel earlier in the offseason, breaking down, the draft and things like that. The Brian Gutekunst did mention just how deep this class was. And part of me was wondering if the Packers would take a tight end in round 1. I predicted they would trade back to the end of round 1 and take Darnell Washington. That did not happen. Washington didn't get selected till the end of the 3rd round. Apparently, lots of people assume that, or apparently he has some kind of knee injury that people seem to be weary about, so he dropped super, super far, even behind Tucker Kraft. The Packers could have taken Washington in the 2nd or 3rd round, passed on him, so there must be some issues there. But Tucker Kraft, 6'4", 254, 9.52 RAS score. Both tight ends with RASs above 9.5. Big tight ends, fast tight ends. And then we look at Tucker Kraft. If you watch his highlights, you can see his yards after the catch ability to break away, to force guys to miss. He's strong, he's fast, he's hard to bring down. And so now when you imagine this Packers offense with 3 new weapons here, 2 tight ends who are big, fast, and strong, who the Packers can bring in, could play 2 tight ends at the same time if they want to, whenever they do. They can also utilize them when it comes to run blocking and sort of open up the running game for Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. And I think the Packers offense just has a ton of versatility now after these first 3 rounds. Before the first 3 rounds, we were wondering what the Packers' plan was. We didn't really make any free agency moves when it came to weapons for Jordan Love. And we knew the draft, Brian Gutekunst would come in and get some more weapons for Love. But I didn't expect 3 weapons out of the first 4 picks. And that's exactly what Brian Gutekunst did. And so I think when you look at this Packers offense now, much different than before the past 2 days. And so with Jordan Love taking over in 2023 for Aaron Rodgers, Brian Gutekunst is giving him a lot of weapons, tons of versatile weapons. A speedy guy in Jaden Reed, and then some bigger, fast, strong guys at tight end in Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave. And then you throw on top of that, at number 13, getting Lucas Van Ness, who I think has a ton of upside. I broke down Brian Gutekunst's comments in a video from this morning if you want to check it out. So overall, my grade for these first 3 rounds for the Packers is an A+. I just love it that much. And you may say, oh, are you sure A+? Yes, A+ is my grade for the Packers' first 3 rounds. I love every single pick. I just love it. I love what the Packers are doing here, really giving Jordan Love help. And I think it was necessary with Aaron Rodgers leaving, with Jordan Love coming in his first season. You got to give your new starter some weapons to give him the best possible chance of succeeding. And Brian Gutekunst, who drafted Jordan Love, who traded up when it was not a very popular pick, when Brian Gutekunst traded up for Jordan Love back in round 1 of 2020. He's giving his guy, the guy that I think his success and his future at GM sort of hangs on, is Jordan Love. Because it's likely if Jordan Love doesn't succeed that Brian Gutekunst, who knows if he'll still be here? He could potentially, but Jordan Love and his success does sort of affect Brian Gutekunst in his future as GM, because that was a bold move to make. And now with Rodgers gone, it looks like a smart move, because we got a QB who could be here for the long haul. Hopefully he is, and I have lots of hope in what Jordan Love can be. And now with all these new weapons here, this Packers offense, it's definitely going to be exciting to see sort of how all these pieces come together. And I feel like for years and years, we knew exactly what to expect coming in. We just knew Rodgers would be great. He would elevate every player on the Packers. But now it's a little different, and it's interesting because it's a little more uncertain and, in a sense, more exciting, because we don't know what this Packers offense is going to be. And so now to have all these athletic players, especially on the offensive side of the ball, it's just going to be very interesting to see how all these guys mesh together. And as Jordan Love develops over the next couple of years, these guys will develop with him as well. Not only these rookies from this season, but also Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Samori Toure, Bo Melton from last year as well, who were rookies. So we have a very young offense here, and I hope that they go above and beyond over the next few seasons. But those are my thoughts. Please comment your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I'll be out with more draft content tomorrow for all the Packers picks, as well as a final draft grade overall. But that is all I have for this video. Thank you so much for watching, as always, and I'll see you guys next time.